Okay, this particular trial is concerned with light. The aim is to try and establish what the relationship is between the amount of light that spurs receive during a critical period in late January, early February, when floral bud primordia are formed. So what we have here is two rows, one row perpendicular to the other, and one row will be more or less in shade most of the time during that particular period. So the buds on those trees, the spurs on those trees will be shaded most of the time during the critical phase in late January, early February. The other row that we have behind us, going left to right, they'll be exposed. The spurs on those trees will be exposed most of the time during that period. So when the sun comes up, its path will be perpendicular to that row orientation behind us, but be more or less in parallel with the row on my right-hand side. Now, what we hope to do is, as I said, establish a relationship between the amount of light that those spurs receive and what their subsequent reproductive behaviour is. Do they actually bear a flower in the future, in the subsequent season? Because of the design of the row and the way we're going to be training them and so forth, we'll be able to actually shade particular spurs so we know that they don't receive light, or they'll be shaded directly from direct light, or we'll be able to exclude particular wavelengths to try and study quantify what the relationship is between light quantity and light quality. Ultimately, when we have that relationship established, we will be able then to maximise the likelihood of spurs being reproductive, bearing a flower. They will need to receive this much light during this period of time. That then gives us another parameter in the orchard design thing, i.e. how close can we plant those rows together and what orientation might they need to be for light to be reaching the whole part of the canopy at some point during that day, and of sufficient quantity and quality to maximise the likelihood of them forming a flower. It stems from an ongoing concern we've all had that we know that light is involved somehow, but quantifying what that relationship is, that's been the difficult bit. With an experiment like this, we can manipulate the amount of light they get. But we can manipulate it from the maximum possible, they're not shaded at all most of the day, to all the way through to they're shaded most of the day. And then we can manipulate those others and as I said, shade them particular spurs and exclude particular wavelengths. So we can modify quantity and quality.